Wow, it has been wonderful. It has been wonderful, and I thought that for what you have done, it is right that Ohene myself gets up to come and appreciate and say thank you. Take you back a little bit from talking about marrying an institution. That's what I said. You said principality, so now I add it. I said I'm married to an institution. And like you're saying, it takes a lot of confidence and resilience and probably a lot of God to be able to support such a ministry. And taking a little bit from the book with the pieces. And I just had a flashback. And it's amazing how God put things together. Because once upon a time, I was living very happily, living a very full life in the UK. Absolutely full life. Even though I've always been Ghanaian and passionate that I would come home, I had no intention to come home when I came. And then all of a sudden, everything stopped. Even though I had a beautiful riverside apartment, I became homeless. Even though I had a good job, I became jobless. I mean, everything just suddenly stopped, and then I decided it's time to come home. And I'm always been a free spirit. So I came back with my 2 motorcycles. One big Harley, one racer, and I shipped off to Ghana. I've always been in the media, so I started media work. My uncle calls me and said, there's a vacant stool in Edumasa, and so, I'm nominating you to be the chief of Edumasa. I'd grown up knowing I come from Ekropong and Chebi. My father comes from Chebi, mom comes from Ekropong, and then all of a sudden, there's not a vacant seat in Ekropong or Chebi but Edumasa. So October 2010 was the first ever time that I went to Edumasa. By January 2011, I was the chief. I'd probably visited the town about 5 times. And then all of a sudden, I was the chief of Edumasa. I mean, it was just like inheriting a ghost town. There were people from Edumasa who did not know that they came from there. There were people within Akwemu who didn't even know that if you go further down, there was a town called Edumasa. Ironically, you drive through Ajana, through Edumasa, and then Jekiti. Everybody knew Ajana, everybody knew Jekiti. People had gone to Jekiti and never knew that they drove through Edumasa. So that was how dead the town was. And somebody said it wasn't even a ghost town because even the ghost had left the town. So it was just a town. So I transcended from a media man to a traditional ruler, and then I sort of tried to add the two. My name was Kweku Sintimisa then. My uncle had already been a media guru as Kweku Sintimisa. So it was like constantly living in the shadow, so I was Kweku Misa Junior, and I was thinking, look, I'm not Junior, I'm myself. So when I became a chief and I became Ansah Kwao, I suddenly dropped Sintimisa and became Ansah Kwao. And then gradually I was able to get my own identity within the media fraternity. But there were other media personalities I had before me who were called Omai Hene, Udikro, this. So everybody assumed that, look, it's a stage name that he's using to, work on the radio. So if he says he's Edumasa Hene, it's not really Ohene. He's just, giving himself a name to act on radio. Then this wonderful lady walked in one day. I was then with Rainbow Radio, and she said that she was looking for sponsorship. So when I joined this gospel, I was 4 years old. So she was looking for sponsorship at the standpoint at 4. I'd seen her a couple of times on TV. I've never followed her because during her rise into the media, I wasn't here. But of course, you cannot miss Gifty Auntie. So I thought, look, you look prettier in real life than it is on TV. That was my first line. It worked. So the guys. But I meant it. Because normally people on TV, look nicer on TV than in real life. But this was the other way around. So I thought, wow, that's strange. You look nicer in real life. So we became friends, and I joined the fraternity at 4. And so then, it's all underground. And then one night, it was about 9:30, 10. I think I was going to drop her. The next day, my paramount chief, I didn't know who Kwafakutu, calls me, and his line was, Bema Sukwa Waripa. I'm thinking, hello? Maybe I've been a catcher. I said, Bema Sukwa Waripa. And I said, home. So, wow, at that time. So, well. So one thing led to the other. Yeah. And the other thing led to the other. I proposed many times and I was bounced. Proposed many times and I was bounced, but eventually it worked. Now, Dr. Apostle Donko called me to his office and he says, take your marriage very seriously because you're now going to be installed as a chief. I was thinking, hello, look, I've installed many chief. There's no litigation on my stool. I'm a gazetted chief. What are you talking about? But I respect him a lot, and I did everything well. And I've always believed in traditions and customs, even though most people think as soon as you talk tradition and custom, you're talking heathenism. But no, I just believe that as Ghanaians, there are things we do as Ghanaians, and therefore, in anything you do, just find out what would be the Ghanaian way, and if it doesn't go against what Jesus would like, why not do it? And so I wanted our marriage to be what, our forefathers would have done, just marry properly in a Ghanaian way. And I did everything. And so, Father Eastwood, it was after my marriage that God actually installed me as a chief. The whole world, including Entertainment Korea or something, somebody in Korea who actually watched an entertainment clip on TV that watched the Ghanaian royal wedding. That's when they realized that I wasn't using Ansah Kwao on radio as an alias, but in fact, I was actually a chief. And so I always say that, my wife has added to me, and not only to me, but to Edumasa itself. I stand to be corrected, but I'm yet to see any Akwamu chief's wife that has a book launched. So this is actually a first. So this is actually a first, and I was telling her that, you know what, Edumasa, we have a bragging right. Our first lady has a book. So I encourage the other first ladies to also write a book and, chart our path. So yes, my wife is indeed a very great woman. I never get introduced without reference to my wife. In fact, sometimes I'm called Ohini Irikuno. As though I became a chief because I married her. But you know what? For me, it opens doors for me. And I'm sure if I had that glory, she would have tapped into it. And so if she has it, I don't compete. I tap into it. And I tap into it with a lot of pride. I get stopped at the police barrier, and the first thing they ask, oh, yeah, mommy, where is oh, nana, ko. And I say it with a lot of pride. My chiefs who are standing here, I know there are times they will say, I'm from Edumasa, and they will say, where is Edumasa? Ansah Kwao? Where's oh, no worry, Gifty Antino. And then all of a sudden, the dots will be crossed. So I always encourage my wife that, look, carry on. Today I was saying, look, when is the second book coming up? I'm not in competition with you. I admire your success. I admire your greatness. And whatever it is we can do to get you great, we are solidly behind you. We have all benefited. And indeed, in the whole of Eastern region, Edumasa is the only place that has got a proper library attached to a school, thanks to you. Literacy has risen from 36% to 89%. And guess who's going to win the award? The district education actually came to me. They want an official letter because they actually want to recognize me for my contribution towards education. So you see, I'm not in competition. just keep. Exactly. So I'm here to say you have added to our bragging rights. You have putting us on a different pedestal. You have given us a different league, a different confidence, a different pride that we speak with. That now you are an author, not only Ohenere, but you are an author. So I know they are not in here, but those on social media who sometimes wonder why my wife is Ohenere, maybe today you get the reason why she is Ohenere. Because that's how come you know I am the Ohene. So when I'm celebrating my wife, let me celebrate her. Because she contributes to her office, which contributes to me and to the whole town, and indeed the society at large. Many privileged or underprivileged women I've seen come through. Some have graduated, and some have got a dream, some have got an ambition. And you change one person's life, and the whole generation gets changed. It's hard. I've seen her down, as the daddy is saying. I've seen her up, I've seen her down, but she forges on. I hope the up days will be more than the low days. Stay up. Know that I am solidly behind you. Know that I'm very, very proud. Not only me, but the whole kingdom, the little republic. We are all very proud. Indeed, you've put us on the map. Wadaroma, and your maps. Or no very Gifty, and your maps. So we celebrate you, and we know that for what you have done, God will bless you more and more and more. And as you are getting the blessings, we are also solidly behind, gathering the blessings along. So thank you very much. And Osofo Mame, Mama Francisca, Pastor Jonathan, Pastor Rubin. There are many of you I'm seeing here today. If I was going to go through the list, who have always known, been solidly behind our. It's great. It's saying thank you is an understatement. Just unfortunate that that's all I have to say, but we should have said more than thank you. Definitely should have said more than thank you. We definitely should have said more than thank you. You have contributed a great deal into her life. And look at how we at the back, look at how we are enjoying. Going through police barriers, opening doors, getting respect, everything. And so all those little pieces on the book that everybody puts in, it's amazing how it comes together to make one picture. So far I want to say thank you.
Ohine will finally want to say that Wamamia minse menyo nyamene ni monya na yeji rempa me na yeji Rensata na yeji Rensata amayenya yanse yanyo nyamene ni monya na yeji rempa me numuda.